Let me tell you something most people never realize until life forces them to slow down. You don't actually grow up when you turn 18. You just learn how to hide your pain better. You learn how to smile through exhaustion, how to keep walking even when something inside you feels unfinished, and how to pretend that the past doesn't whisper your name when the world gets quiet. But that unfinished part, that ache that keeps returning in moments of silence, that's not weakness. That's your inner child calling out to you. And according to Carl Jung, healing that voice within you is not some spiritual trend or self-help cliche. It's the very foundation of becoming whole. You see, Jung believed that inside every adult lives a child who never stopped waiting to be seen, heard, and loved. That child doesn't disappear when you grow up. It hides in your subconscious, shaping your fears, your reactions, and even the way you love. When someone criticizes you and it feels heavier than it should, when rejection feels like the end of the world, when you sabotage something good because deep down, you don't feel worthy of it, that's the inner child speaking through you. And the truth is, most of us are still unconsciously living out the stories that little version of us believed were true. Maybe when you were young, love felt conditional. Maybe you had to earn approval, stay quiet, be good, or take care of everyone else just to feel safe. So you learned survival instead of connection. And now, as an adult, you still repeat those same emotional patterns. People-pleasing, avoiding conflict, working yourself to exhaustion. Because somewhere deep inside, that child still thinks love must be earned. Jung called this process of recognizing and integrating those hidden parts of ourselves individuation, the journey towards psychological wholeness. It's not about fixing yourself, it's about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. Think about that for a moment. You weren't born ashamed. You weren't born afraid of failure or rejection. You learned those things. They became emotional habits carved into your nervous system. And the process of healing your inner child is about gently unlearning them, one memory, one belief, one pattern at a time. Sometimes healing starts with something as simple as listening. You notice the voice that says, "I'm not good enough." You pause before reacting, and instead of silencing it, you ask, "Who taught me that?" And often you'll find the answer isn't your adult self. It's the child who once stood in a room feeling invisible. The child who thought silence meant safety. The child who tried to make everyone happy because no one seemed happy with them. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." That's what the unhealed inner child does. It pulls strings from behind the curtain, shaping your relationships, your self-worth, your career, even your sense of purpose. It decides how you love, how you handle pain, and how much of life you allow yourself to receive. But once you begin to bring that child into the light, to talk to it, to understand it, to hold it, you stop repeating cycles. You stop searching for parents in your partners. You stop trying to prove your worth through achievements. And for the first time, you start living from authenticity instead of defense. There's a reason so many people feel empty, even after reaching success. They got everything their adult self wanted, but their inner child was still waiting for permission to rest, to play, to feel safe. Healing that part of you is not about becoming childish. It's about reconnecting with the parts of you that were pure, creative, curious, and full of wonder before life taught you to be afraid. Jung used the metaphor of the wounded healer to describe how the parts of us that were once broken can actually become the source of our wisdom. It's often the people who have suffered most deeply who become the most compassionate, the most understanding, the most capable of healing others. But to reach that point, you have to stop running from your wounds. You have to sit with them long enough to see what they were trying to teach you. Maybe your wound is abandonment. Maybe it's shame. Maybe it's the belief that no matter what you do, it will never be enough. Whatever it is, Jung would say it's not your enemy. It's your invitation. An invitation to return to the origin of that pain and bring light to the place where you once felt darkness. And that's where the real transformation begins. Not in perfection, but in presence. Because healing isn't a straight line. It's remembering one day and forgetting the next. It's crying over things you thought you were done with. It's learning how to be gentle with yourself even when you're frustrated that you're not better yet. That's healing. That's growth. Imagine this dash. You're sitting alone after a long day and a familiar wave of sadness hits you. It doesn't make sense. Everything in your life seems fine. But that emotion isn't random. It's a message, a memory surfacing. Maybe it's the loneliness you felt when no one noticed your tears as a child. Maybe it's the guilt you carried for needing too much. Instead of pushing it away, what if you simply said, "I'm listening"? That single act of acknowledgement is powerful, because when your inner child finally feels heard, something inside you softens. You stop needing the world to validate you in the same way. You stop chasing people who replicate your old wounds. You stop trying to fix yourself because you realize you were never broken. Jung once said that every person you meet is a mirror of something inside you. The ones who irritate you, the ones who inspire you, the ones who make you feel small or seen, they all reflect parts of your own psyche. And when you start healing your inner child, those mirrors begin to change. You attract people who speak gently because you've learned to speak gently to yourself. You find peace in solitude because your inner child no longer feels abandoned there. You begin to live not out of fear, but out of choice. But let's be honest, healing is not glamorous. It's messy. Sometimes it's isolating. You might feel like you're falling apart, but what's really happening is integration. The pieces of you that were scattered across different years of your life are slowly coming home. Carl Jung described the psyche as a vast landscape filled with symbols and archetypes, each one representing a piece of your story. The inner child is one of the most powerful symbols in that landscape because it connects you to your origins, your innocence, and your raw humanity. When you ignore it, your adult self becomes rigid, anxious, and disconnected. But when you nurture it, your entire inner world begins to realign. You start noticing small moments, like the way sunlight hits your hands, or how laughter feels lighter than it used to. You start rediscovering joy without needing a reason. You stop apologizing for your sensitivity and begin seeing it as a form of intelligence, because sensitivity is what allows you to feel the world deeply, and feeling deeply is what makes life meaningful. The modern world teaches us to suppress emotion, to stay productive, to keep moving. But Jung's teachings remind us that healing doesn't happen in motion. It happens in stillness. It happens when you finally pause long enough to listen to the echoes of your own heart. When you stop trying to escape the pain and instead ask it, "What are you trying to show me?" That's when your inner child begins to trust you again. It begins to understand that it's safe to come out, to play, to create, to feel. And slowly, the distance between who you are and who you were begins to disappear. You realize you've spent so long trying to become someone new, when all along, healing was about remembering who you were before the world got loud. And that realization changes everything. Because once you begin to nurture that child within, to listen, forgive, and protect it, you stop needing others to do it for you. You stop chasing love and start embodying it. And the life that once felt heavy begins to feel lighter, not because the world changed, but because you did. That's the quiet power of Jung's wisdom. He didn't teach people to escape their pain. He taught them to meet it, to walk into the dark with a lantern instead of pretending the darkness wasn't there. Because the parts of you you've been avoiding, the sadness, the insecurity, the longing, those aren't flaws. They're the doorways back to your humanity. You heal your life by healing the child within it. And when you finally do, the world stops feeling like a place you must survive and starts feeling like a place you can live. There's something sacred about the moment you stop running from yourself. It's subtle, almost unnoticeable at first. Maybe it happens when you stop apologizing for being emotional, or when you catch yourself smiling without forcing it. Maybe it happens when you finally sit in silence and realize you don't need anyone to fill it anymore. That quiet comfort you feel, that's your inner child beginning to trust you again. Carl Jung often said that the greatest privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But most of us spend years trying to become what others need us to be, what our parents wanted, what society praised, what our past demanded. We shapeshift to survive. We wear masks so perfectly that after a while, even we forget what's underneath. And yet, somewhere inside, a small voice whispers, "This isn't me." That voice is your truth. It's your inner child reminding you of who you were before you learned to pretend. When Jung talked about the shadow, the hidden side of the psyche, he didn't mean something evil. He meant the parts of you that you've rejected, repressed, or hidden because they weren't accepted by the world around you. That's where your inner child often hides, inside the shadow. In the parts of you that still feel too much, want too much, or fear too much. And the only way to bring that child out of the dark is through compassion, not control. So many people try to heal through self-improvement, reading, manifesting, building habits. But healing isn't always about becoming better. It's about becoming honest. It's about sitting with the pain you once tried to outgrow and saying, "I see you. I won't leave you again." That's the kind of honesty Jung believed transforms a person. Not knowledge, not achievement, but genuine self-acceptance. You might think you've forgotten your childhood, but your body remembers. It remembers the tone of voice that made you shrink, the silence that felt like punishment, the warmth that made you feel safe. It remembers who comforted you and who didn't. That's why certain smells, songs, or moments can suddenly bring tears to your eyes. They're not random, they're echoes. Your inner child is always speaking through sensations, through patterns, through the way you respond to life. And when you finally decide to listen, everything begins to shift. The way you speak to yourself changes. Instead of "I'm so stupid," you begin saying "I made a mistake, but that doesn't define me." Instead of ignoring your exhaustion, you learn to rest. Instead of hiding your feelings, you start expressing them in ways that are safe. Each small act of kindness toward yourself becomes a form of reparenting. You become the adult you needed when you were young. Jung believed that inside each of us lives both the parent and the child, and our task is to unite them, to bring maturity and innocence together, wisdom and wonder, logic and emotion. When that happens, life feels more balanced. You stop swinging between extremes, overworking, then collapsing, loving too much, then shutting down. You begin to live from a place of quiet steadiness. Healing your inner child doesn't mean your pain disappears. It means the pain no longer controls you. You stop identifying with it. You begin to see that the hurt was never proof that you were broken. It was proof that you were human. Every scar becomes a story of survival. Every tear becomes evidence that you cared deeply enough to feel. And slowly, your relationship with the past begins to change. You stop trying to rewrite it. You start to understand it. You see your parents not as villains or heroes, but as people who also had wounded children inside them. You see the bullies, the heartbreaks, the disappointments, not as defining moments, but as chapters in a much bigger story. The moment you forgive, not to excuse, but to free yourself, your inner child exhales for the first time. There's a quiet beauty in that freedom. You begin to laugh without analyzing why. You start creating again, painting, writing, dancing, whatever your younger self loved. You rediscover curiosity. You remember what it felt like to look at the sky and wonder, not worry. And that's when you realize healing your inner child doesn't just heal the past, it changes your future. Because when that wounded child becomes whole, you stop repeating old stories. You no longer seek validation from people who cannot give it. You stop proving your worth through productivity. You stop choosing pain disguised as love. You start choosing peace even when it's quiet. And that shift ripples outward into every part of your life. Your work, your relationships, your creativity, your sense of purpose. Jung once said that the soul longs to be made whole, and it will call to you through symptoms until you listen. Anxiety, burnout, restlessness, emotional numbness. These aren't random, they're signals. They're the psyche's way of saying, something within me needs attention. And when you answer that call, when you finally turn inward instead of outward, life starts making sense in ways it never did before. Healing your inner child isn't about chasing happiness. It's about finding peace and being real. It's not about erasing the scars. It's about realizing they're proof of your becoming. It's about recognizing that the part of you that still feels lost is also the part that knows the way home. Sometimes the most powerful healing moment comes not in therapy, not in meditation, but in the simple act of holding yourself while you cry. Because that's what the child inside you always needed. To know that someone would stay, even when things got messy. That someone is you now, and once that relationship begins to form between who you were and who you've become, you start to see yourself differently. Not as someone trying to heal, but as someone who is healing. Not as broken, but as blooming. Every time you comfort that younger version of you, you rewrite the story of your life. You teach your heart that it's safe to trust again, that love doesn't have to hurt, that you belong here. In the end, Jung's teachings all point to one truth. Wholeness doesn't come from perfection, but from integration. From loving the scared child, the awkward teenager, the tired adult, all at once. When you embrace them all, you stop searching for completion in other people because you realize it's been within you the whole time. Healing your inner child won't make your life flawless. You'll still have bad days, doubts, and disappointments. But underneath it all, there will be a sense of safety you never had before. Because now, no matter what happens, you know you won't abandon yourself again. And that, more than anything, is what it means to heal your life. It's not about escaping the darkness. It's about bringing light to it. It's about meeting the child you once were, holding their hand and saying, "We made it. We're finally home."